Who are these people?
Hey.
All right. Welcome to episode 67 of Angel in the Afternoon. Very special edition on a Sunday night, evening, morning, whatever you want to call this. My name is Andrew Rivera. I'm your host. And my special guest today is Mr. Cabello of Heartlands Media. So, how are you doing tonight, sir?
It's good to be on your show. A promise is a promise, and it's good to be here. I'm, as always, happy to support my colleagues in Indie News Network because they're one of the dauntless few, and I remember how all of you stood up for me. I am just returning it back. But just a little on a personal note, this month has been a little bit hectic, and going on to this week, just prepping up for the DNC convention. It's going to be here amongst other things, and just it's been weighing heavily on my mind a lot. A lot of stuff has been weighing on my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why we're on here to discuss to preview the convention, which is what, 10 days from now, something like that.
Actually, it
is it
is set
less?
for August 19th. So at least the DNC convention is going to be happening August 19th through the 22nd. So it's going to be those 4 days. I know I'm going to be covering the Jill Stein, Kashama Sawant, and Nick Cruz event, which is going to be here in the city as well.
Oh, okay.
So I know that's one event I'm going to cover. There might be a couple other things there too that I'll be speaking about for the DNC convention, and just getting things squared away, and also finding some good pizza joints or some good Chicago style food to treat some of my friends who are going to be here. So I know Russell's going to be here, and I gotta show him some good Chicago style pizzas. So that's what I got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So bear with me 1 second. My camera is just turned off on me for no reason, but we'll work with it. I'll figure it out. But
those rat bastards! What's going on? Who's messing with your stuff?
I don't know. The camera's is off. Hold on a second. Here it is, but I'm trying to get it here, and it's not working. But I'll figure it out. But yeah. But anyways, so what are we doing? Oh, that's right. So the convention's like 10 days away, whenever, how long it is, and quite frankly, I was kind of hoping for more excitement, like, oh yeah, there's going to be an open convention, and there's going to be a fight at the convention, and
No, I think it's
all
going to
this
be
other
boring.
stuff. And that's what I thought initially when Joe Biden dropped out, and then I was like, then once I found out that Kamala Harris was, here we go.
Well, here's my initial thoughts. Obviously, I have been, keeping an eye on what's going to be happening with the DNC convention here in Chicago, and unfortunately, I don't think me and Daniel are going to get inside the convention. I mean, we will try and be around that area, but for the most part, I think it would be rather. We're going to probably be interviewing a couple of people there, going to a couple of protests here and there. I know we're going to go to the Jill Stein Kasama Sawant event, so that's something I'm looking forward to doing. But getting inside the convention center, unless we got a contact, then so be it. Maybe we can get inside there, but I'm seeing security intensify around that area already. I'm getting messages and from the city of Chicago. It's like, oh, we're going to be shutting down this bus route here, or we're going to be shutting this route down here, or this is going to be unable to, you guys won't be able to reach it. There's going to be a lot of confusion. So it's all going to be controlled, and the DNC is going to do everything in its power to make sure that everything goes the way they want it to go. which is pretty sad when you really think about it. And there's going to be a real lack of, or at least there's a potential real lack of trying to get the story of what's happening at the convention. But the story is going to be happening on the outside, and people calling out the DNC, calling out these hypocrites, and Hard Lens Media is going to be there. And I'm also looking forward to seeing the Jimmy Dore show as well, because that's going to be here in Chicago. So looking forward to seeing Jimmy's show. Looking forward to seeing Nick and meeting, Russell and everybody else, Matt Weinglass, Pasta, everyone face to face. So no longer there will be the illusion of a screen. There's going to be just us talking to each other. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Great. Yeah, I wish I could go, but I can't make it, unfortunately. And I think I got busted. Spit out the gum. Angel was like, yeah, I'm busted. I mean, there isn't much. And I just put it in my mouth before the show, and it's like, my breath smells kind of badly. So that's why I'm like, oh,
hey,
like the
hey, don't worry about that.
So I just put it in my mouth. But let's see. Max says some of these people are really bad. I should be put in prisons. And a lot of these people run our country, and that pisses me off. Yeah, I mean, the people are powerful. They're the elites. They're the one in power. Live meetup and there's gonna be a live meetup. So I hope. I'm sure it's exciting. But yeah, so the Democrats, they picked. They anointed Kamala Harris. Anointed, I guess what it is. They didn't. She wasn't. Nobody voted for her. Not a single Democrat voted for her, but
nope.
They are still very excited about her, and then they're all very excited about the professional left's their most recent favorite politician, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, because that's their favorite politician right now. I mean, Bernie, they moved on from Bernie, it seems like, and now they're all in on the governor of Minnesota. So
yeah, a governor who is not progressive, but somebody who does a lot of virtue signaling and more or less is just another Democrat sycophant. I'm rather impressed at how people are just willing to just dismiss the fact that they are going to be voting for a candidate that they didn't vote for. Everyone's excited for it. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, too, I'm really surprised at the stupidity from the Trump campaign. And that is, they're going after people, going after Kamala for her identity. They're not really focusing too much on policies and economics, which is the one thing that would work in their favor. And then also this whole thing about going after Joe Rogan for supposedly endorsing Kennedy. Now, I mean, we covered it too, but as things progress, and I'll have to make this correction on Monday's show, he didn't endorse her. He just said, or endorsed Kamala or RFK Jr. He said he liked RFK Jr.'s policy, and that was it. He liked the guy. Big difference. He didn't endorse him, but yet Trump posted on Truth Social, "Oh, I'm pretty sure people will boo him at the next UFC event," which is what is that going to prove, Trump? You need to be focused. You need to focus on the game and hit Kamala on policy, which again, during these past couple of days, does she have any policies? Let's go ahead and play this game, because again, I'm typing it here on my computer and I still see nothing.
No, on my Friday show, in fact, I went to her website and there was nothing.
Still nothing.
Still nothing.
Just going to the store and I guess picking up stickers, getting a mug, getting a hat, and that's it. That's all what they have. This is all what the Kamala's running on. And if I was Trump, I'd be hitting her on policy. I'd be hitting her on economics. I'd be hitting her on all this stuff. But he isn't. And this very well could cost him, because it wasn't too long ago on the 13th of July where somebody tried to assassinate him. And he had a huge momentum working for him. Like he literally had this huge wave. And now, boom, people forgot. And I just can't take some of these liberals. I can't take them seriously anymore. They
can.
Well, I mean, not only that, they have sacrificed or purposely, no, not sacrificed. They purposely threw out whatever remains of their integrity to vote for somebody because they suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. Like everyone's so happy about this. They shouldn't be, because the entire primary process has been taken away from them and denied to them, and yet they're okay. And yet these are the same liberals who tell you, oh, we got to be worried about Trump. We got to be worried about fascism. You guys openly embrace the party selecting somebody for you, and your votes don't matter. They never
No.
did, and they're embracing it.
Yeah, because you got to stop Trump. You know,
You guys
that's
back
all.
Trump.
That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. So let's see. They're donate. Still the same thing from Friday. On top, there's a donation thing there. Donate 25, 4,700, 150, 200, 1,000, and other. Meet Kamala Harris. Meet Tim Walz. Take action, whatever that means. Events and store. So there's 1, 2, 3. Looks like 4 ways to donate on this website. 4, and including the store. And there's nothing else here. What is take action? Take action to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. We are glad to have you on board with our campaign to elect Kamala Harris as president and Tim Walz as vice president. This year, we need your help to reach friends, family, neighbors, and communities. Take action now. Find an event here, and give me all your information so I can email you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, hey, but no, I'm already getting those text messages from Bernie Sanders and the Democrats.
I am too.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Kit, are you ready to support Kamala Harris and stop Trump? Yeah, I'm not going to do that. And that's,
I am too.
And I, as much as I want to get to the convention center, I'm just wondering how many delusional liberals are going to be at the United Center at McCormick Place. How many people are be willing to drink the Kool-Aid and give up whatever remains of their integrity because of their feelings. Yes, I understand the dangers of a Trump presidency. I'm not going to just dismiss it. I get it. I get it that people are scared of Trump. But, you better hope that Kamala will be on point for the first debate between her and Trump on September 10th. You better hope that she's prepped and ready and that she doesn't have a moment to where she makes herself look like a clown.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure she will look like a clown because that's all she does. I mean, even now, when I think it was when they got the Russians to release those Americans, they did a little press conference and she talked a little bit and she did one of her classic word salads. I mean, so and it's like, come on, this is your you're running for president and like this word salad, and people say that she's competent. And Joe Biden isn't. I mean, no, Joe Biden isn't competent. I mean, but still, I mean, she isn't either. And this Tim Walz guy, we covered him a lot on Friday's show, and he's just, they're all excited about him because he did, let's see, paid family leave, paid sick leave, paid, what else? He did a bunch of stuff. A lot of progressive policies, like, oh my God, look how progressive he is. Isn't he great? And let's see, I have it here. I think I do. I saved. I don't remember Alyssa's policies. There's a bunch of good stuff, though. Good stuff.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of good things that he has done, but you have to remember he's also a Democrat and he's also somebody who's just is he critical of Israel? No. He's not going to be any. He's like any other. Yes, a Democrat can pass good policies, just like a Republican can. But you got to look at the good and the bad equally. And if you're with the Democrat Party or Republican Party, I view you with suspicion. Not because of, I think you're just going to do something evil and nefarious, but it's because I'm all too familiar with the lies that both parties do when it comes down to, you guessed it, implementing policies for the rest of us. Because a lot of these politicians, they cater to the establishment, they cater to the party leadership, and they're going to very well listen to the donors. So is he anti-genocide? No.
None
of these. I mean, you had. Did anyone notice Kamala Harris's recent confrontation with protesters? She's like, I hear you. And okay, you hear. Are you going to do anything?
No.
Are you going to stop anything? Are you going to address any concerns? And the answer is no. No. Nobody.
Chance.
No.
What? I covered this on Friday too, but she met with these protesters beforehand, and she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna help you guys out. Just vote for me." They still protest her anyways, and she's like, "Oh, well, I'm talking now," and everybody, "Yes, Queen, yes, Queen."
They were like, "Yeah,
yes." And then I'm like, but Yeah, I mean, of course they're going to protest you. You're a part of the administration that is doing genocide right now.
Mhm.
Even though people are excuse her, well, she's not the president, but no, but she's still part of the administration. She isn't like she is technically the incumbent because she's running for Joe Biden's second term and she's VP. So I call her as the incumbency at that point. So it's her fault. So I don't understand where she gets off thinking that people are going to just let her speak and like, oh, just elect me, trust me, we'll stop, we'll end this somehow, even though she doesn't say how Tim Walz is not against it either because he's running mouth about how Israel has the right to defend itself, which is code for let them continue doing what they're doing. So let's see, Tim Walz. These are some of his positions. Something. Oh, he got free school breakfast pass, free school lunch pass, 12 weeks paid family sick leave, free college. That's actually free community college, I think, and 2.2 billion extra in K to 12 school funding. Yay! Congratulations, and I apologize about the motorcycles.
It's the,
Fuck you.
hey, you know what? It's all good. We still got ourselves an epic show. So, hey, that's right. That's right. The celebration of an epic
Yeah.
show. Crossover, Angel and Kit. So as
Uh-huh.
it should be. But you know, when we hear when we see these politicians and they're presenting themselves and they're trying to clean up their image because that's what that whole thing that was between Kamala and the protesters there, and that is Kamala like, I hear you, and we're gonna do something, and we're gonna do a ceasefire.
Yeah.
That is night and day. That is like complete opposite in regards to how she first addressed people, because she probably got pulled over by some people and said like, hey, look, we're trying to get all these suckers, I mean voters, to support you. So if you're a progressive, my thing that I'm looking forward to for the DNC convention, and that is speaking to the uncommitted voters and the pro-Palestine protesters that are going to be there. I'm going to want to talk to them, and I'm going to ask them like, hey, look, you know, you had Kamala Harris make this open statement about, you know, if you guys want Trump to win, then, you know, say it. Otherwise, I'm speaking. I'm going to be asking these uncommitted voters, like, are you going to be uncommitted, or will you commit yourself to a political party that's going to tell you things you want to hear and then go right back to turning a blind eye to the war crimes that are happening in Gaza? And you have to put these people on the spot. I don't care if they're viewed like, oh, they're allies or they're friends or we got to be nice. No, it's either you're consistent or you're not. And I remember way early on when I started doing this business, you know, interviewing these protesters and activists during the height of the Trump presidency, 2016 to 2020. And, you know, their hearts were in the good, right spot. But as time progressed on, it was just like they kept on forming up downtown Chicago, protesting in front of Trump Tower. And I remember asking a few, I'm like, hey, are you going to bring this energy to Democratic lawmakers that are even voting and promoting Trump's policies? Are you guys going to really step up, boot up and suit up and get ready to, you know, call out these politicians on both sides of the aisle? And even when it came down to, you know, to the, why am I to the migrants? Sorry about that. To the migrants coming here to the sanctuary cities. You know, I remember asking a lot of these activists and organizers, like, hey, do you think the city's really ready to do this? Are these sanctuary cities ready to do this? And every time I really challenged or questioned a lot of those activists, a lot of these social justice warriors, always get the pushback of, oh, you don't understand, or we have a plan, or we're not going to tell it to you, or you're being bigoted, or all this other stuff. Yeah, and there was never a plan. And why? Because a lot of them disappeared after Biden got elected in office. A lot of them just went right back to brunch. A lot of them were cosplayers. And I do have to say, like, when it comes down to interviewing uncommitted, that's if they do want to speak to us, are you going to fight, or are you just going to be a little punk and listen to what the Democrats do? Are you going to let them walk all over you? And that is something that uncommitted voters are going to have to come to terms with, because Kamala just gave you two answers. She told you to shut up because you want Trump to win, or she's like, I hear you, being polite, and then saying, yeah, you know, and then later on she secretly still gives aid to Israel and all that other stuff. So that is something that uncommitted voters are going to have to ask themselves. So if they don't step up, then they need to be called out. And if they're going to be wasting everybody's time, I would consider not supporting, you know, any organization that's going to be saying one thing and does something completely different. I've seen this with other activist groups. I've seen this with third parties, and after a while, it becomes very enraging because you hear them talk this good game. You hear them do all these social media posts. You see them occasionally, a few of them getting some likes, and like any institution, like any organization, you're going to have people that are egomaniacs and want their own interests promoted. And
Oh yeah.
I've seen my fair share of activists and organizers just make a name for themselves because they were building clout on social media.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot in politics. Either you're in it or you're covering it. There's a lot of egos, a lot of
Yeah.
egos out there. I mean, either you're in it directly, running for office, or supporting someone, or you're like us, covering it and stuff. A lot of
Mhm.
egos. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, it's like, oh look, I got more views than you do. Oh well, I got this guest and you didn't. It's like, oh, I don't. It's like there's egos. Egos are a
Yeah.
big part of politics. Just like so.
And you see that especially in the activist community because I'll never forget this one. This was, I think it might have been, it could have been a political. I want to be careful with using its name, but I remember speaking to them, and one of their organizers was like, "Oh, you're just trying to build a big name by trying to get us on your show." And this was when we were on radio, so we didn't even have like a blip on
Yeah.
the radar yet. It's like, no, we're here to promote you guys and shine a light on the good that you're doing. And it was like pulling teeth with a lot of them. And I remember one month when I was doing a full dedication at third parties, I had like the Illinois Green Party, the Illinois
Yeah.
Libertarian Party, and a few other independent groups come onto my show. And it was like, especially when it got down to more of the, I guess maybe leftist groups, it was like pulling teeth. It was just trying to really get an understanding, like trying to have an open communication with them, like, hey, we're trying to promote you guys and talk about you guys in a good light. And it was always was like viewed with suspicion, and you're trying to take advantage of our clubhouse. Well, like no one's showing up to you guys anymore. And also let's see, hold on. There is, sorry, I'm seeing something in private chat that just got my attention.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Uh,
your background is kind of reversed, so that's what
oh,
that's what it is.
let's see. Click the gear kit and go to the video on the left. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I just noticed that when I saw the chat. Oh yeah, it's like inverted. It's like backwards.
Okay, hold on. So what did I do? Hold on. Click the gear and go to the video on the left. Hold on. There's setting and research. Hang on. I'll get to that later. I'm in the middle of the story. Throwing me off here.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, like
So no. It's just, I was just getting to the activists, and just I just hope I'm not going to be disappointed. I just hope that they're actually there's actually real uncommitted for the people to actually protest and fight back. I hope that they do fight, and that they are consistent.
Yeah, well, there's something called the Audacity of Hope, which is a famous book by a U.S. president. But yeah, how dare you have hope? But yeah, I mean, we can have hope, but it's very likely these activists will just back the party because that's what all they do. Let's be prepared for that too, because they're always ended up backing the party because they're deathly afraid of Trump derangement syndrome, Trump bad, Orange Man bad. We wouldn't call this man. He's worse than evil itself. So he's evil incarnate. He's worse than Satan, whatever, Hitler, whatever evil man you come up with in history. He's somehow worse than all those people. So you have to defeat him first. And then once you defeat him in 2028, guess what? A new Republican will pop up, which is even more evil. And you'll have to continue voting for Democrats because that Republican's more evil than Trump, whoever it ends up being. Whether it ends up being J.D. Vance or whether it ends up being I don't know who else. I don't know in the party right now we even run for president, but same thing with Democrats. Like there's nobody there for 28. It's like who's running?
Well, there's really no incentive for anybody to really be excited about any of these politicians. I think we have reached the bottom of the barrel because you have Kamala Harris, who is more or less being anointed as the Democrat nominee. You have the click, copy, paste version of Donald Trump. You have Trump once again throwing his hat in the ring. The third party candidates, all of them have been disappointing in one way or another.
Oh God, they're
So
all awful. It's not
yeah,
even-
so the option of none of the above is very acceptable, and I think people have every right to be, upset, disappointed, and not be engaged in modern politics because the people that are running for these seats, they are not engaging. I mean, I only can imagine if Bernie Sanders actually had the spirit and the soul and the fire to actually try and win and maintain his political organization, maybe people would be more actively involved, but he chose the coward's way out by accepting the rules of the Democratic Party and being subservient to them and giving up on his entire movement. He gave up on his people. He gave up on his own
Yes.
policies. He gave up on what made him
He's-
very appealing to voters. And after 2020, I don't know if any of y'all noticed it, but I did. Like the lack of enthusiasm, the lack of engagement, the whole entire progressive movement just fizzled away because our leaders sold us out. So does AOC inspire anybody? No.
No.
Rashida Tlaib? No. Ayanna Presley? No. None of them do. And Bernie Sanders especially. I don't think he could even pull off filling up a whole stadium because how many times he's compromised with the Democrats and how many times he's been revealed to be a corporate stooge to the DNC. And Dr. Nick says, was it real to begin with? I don't know, but it felt real.
It felt real. Yeah,
It
that's what
felt
I'm
real.
gonna.
My emotions are there. Like, no, it felt real to me.
And
It felt real.
eight
Go ahead.
years ago, it felt weird. It felt unbelievably real. Like a lot of the people that I met during especially in 2016, a lot of them kind of dislike me now because we all kind of love Bernie now that they turned on me, that I turned on Bernie and turned on the left. Now it's like, "Fuck, we don't like you anymore." It's like, okay, I mean, I don't care. It's not like it's high school, and I'm part of the right clique. Like, who cares? Bernie is Bernie. He's just, he's a traitor. He's a sellout to the Democrats. If you don't like that, then that's on you. I'm not going to be friends with you. I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna lie to you just because we're supposed to be friends.
Yeah, it's I've lost a couple of friends too. Most of it happened after 2016 when I kept telling people that Hillary Clinton was going to lose to Donald Trump. As for Bernie Sanders, eventually I was able to rebuild some friendships, but I was just, I'm trying to tell people like, look, Bernie is not who he said he was. He never was. People should be demanding their money back. They should be knocking on his door. Hey, dude, where's our money at? Where is it at?
Yeah, that's what a few $100 million that we all gave to Bernie because I'm
Yeah.
sure me, you, and a lot of people in the chat were Bernie supporters in 2016, and we all donated one way, either some more, some less, but it's around 200 million approximately. Like that money went directly from Bernie to Hillary because it ended up going to the party through Hillary once Bernie dropped out. So
As well as our phone numbers, our emails, which is
mhm.
why you get bombarded with text messages and emails and phone calls from the Democratic Party because Bernie gave it all away. And that's what the
He
Democrats are
sold
doing
us out.
again here, especially when the DNC happens in Chicago. You're going to be seeing all these people, all these politicians redouble and triple their efforts into doing the voter tour of guilt and shame, which is they're going to be posting on social media. They'll be posting on any kind of media outlet, making statements as if you don't support Kamala Harris, you are a bad guy. You are a horrible person. You are a villain. You are the problem. And that's not going to really build up a strong coalition for Democrats because there are
No.
voters, especially here in my city, people are not engaged or happy about Kamala Harris. And she does come off as like a Hillary Clinton 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing is, though, if you're going to be like a Hillary Clinton 2.0, there is a 100% certainty that very well she could lose this election. Now, again, I've said this election could go 50-50, but if she's coming off as a Hillary, I think she's made her chances of getting elected into office that much lower.
Yeah, like I think I was talking about this on Friday. The electoral college map is against her. It's against Democrats this time around. I mean, it looks like a lot of the swing states she's trailing in, and the ones that she's leading in, some of the polling, they oversample Democrats, so it's a whole other issue. Like they're definitely astroturfing Kamala. It's like, oh well, she's leading in all the swing states. You look into a lot of polling, you dig a little deeper. It's like, oh well, they're oversampling Democrats and independent leaning leftists. So of course she's going to be up, But I digress. The whole what I was trying to say is I think that the map is against her in electoral college. Trump doesn't need to win the popular vote to win. He needs just to win enough black votes, enough Latino votes, carry majority of white people, which I'm sure he will, and carry the right states. And he can win this election by losing the popular vote by 3 to 4 points. So, like he did in 2016, doesn't need to win the popular vote, even though he would like to, I'm sure, but doesn't really need it. How long is this honeymoon gonna last? After right after the first debate, because they agreed to debate in September. So,
well, if she does it, okay. Let's play the scenario out. If she does pretty well against Donald Trump, in the second, so while he's gone, I'll filibuster here for a little bit. So, when he's if Trump does a piss poor job on the 10th, then the honeymoon phase continues on, and people can be like, well, she's got this in the bag. And I think there's a collective effort by corporate media to make Kamala Harris and build her up and up and up and up and up into something that she's not. And there's going to be a lot of delusional people out there saying that Kamala's great and she's this and she's that. But it wasn't too long ago where everyone was saying she was a terrible vice president. She's hemorrhaging staff. Like, all these horrible stories about Kamala have been scrubbed from the internet.
Yes.
You
can't even find them, really. You have to really dig deep to find them.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's also, like, if you talk about Kamala in a negative light, be it on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I mean, I think there's a purpose of hiding these tweets, hiding these posts, hiding these videos, and it is. We're in a sad state of affairs now, where free speech is on the chopping block. And I remember after 2020, all those activists, they disappeared as soon as Trump was on the White House, and you know what? Everyone went to brunch, and I see everybody going back to brunch again, and everyone being blinded by the fact that you have somebody who should not be in the White House, and that is Kamala Harris. Now, look, I don't think Trump should be in the White House either. Both of them, I feel, are incompetent, and they don't really deserve any kind of reach that the office of presidency allows. But these are our choices, and the American people are stuck with it. Now, I'm going to make I've said I'm going to probably vote independent third party, but that's going to be for the other ballots. When it comes down to president, I just might as well leave that blank, because no one is engaging my interests. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do yet, but I'll make that decision when the opportunity does reveal itself.
Yeah, for me, I probably would write in my own name, like there you go. I'm voting for myself, because I'm better than all these fuckers. But every candidate out there, I'm better than them. But yeah, I mean, I'm not voting for Trump or Kamala, and I got people I've had old friends tell me, well, Kamala picked Tim Walz. You like all his policies, right? So you have to vote for Kamala now. I'm like, no, I don't. Yeah, Tim Walz is he's pro. He's an open Zionist. He wants to continue funding Ukraine. That's all I care about. I want these things to end so we avoid World War III. Maybe it's inevitable. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. But if you stop these two things, maybe we won't die in the next 10 years. But,
you're reaching for a bridge too far, man. I think that, like, not only are we seeing sycophant politicians actually invest into war, but they're promoting it. They want it to happen. I mean, look at the situation in Ukraine right now that's happening. One of the power plants got hit, and Zelensky's blaming Putin. No matter what's going on here, missiles are being fired, especially when you talk about nuclear power plants. I think the last thing anyone wants to see is a rocket hit one of these power plants where there's an unstable explosion, because the last time there was an unstable explosion that took place there was a little known place called Chernobyl.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in Ukraine. Yeah, 1986.
So, yeah, no, and what else is like, in, for me, covering this and having this event take place here in Chicago, in many ways, I feel like we're being vindicated. Like everything's coming full circle. We're going to see corruption at its finest. We're going to see nepotism at its finest. We're going to see neoliberalism at its finest. And it's going to be rather disappointing to see so many people flocking in just to get the dopamine high of facing off against an orange Cheeto man that is absolutely irrelevant. You know, we're facing they're excited to defeat Trump, but no one has a policy to make our lives better. They're excited to own a half of the population because they chose to support Trump, but they're not interested in trying to make sure that everyone has a chance to make it in this neoliberal cesspool that we call America, okay? There is a huge economic disparity between the rich and the poor, and people like, that's right, Kamala Harris support and implement neoliberal policies. And Donald Trump is also a recipient and receiver of neoliberalism at its finest, where he is able to survive and thrive. I mean, the reason why the man was able to survive bankruptcy and do all of his things is because he has found the loopholes that were written by Democratic and Republican politicians, people like Joe Biden or Chucky Boy Schumer or Turtle Boy Mitch McConnell. He was able to worm through it and use it to his advantage so he could become richer again. So, you know, all this happening here in Chicago is just okay. This is maybe this is the final tombstone for the Democratic Party, but I am prepared to see the fake crowd smile. I am prepared to hear all the fake cheering, and I'm also prepared for Kamala Harris to make a very well scripted speech, or either that a well scripted speech will be made for her to read off of. And so many people in the corporate media will be like, wow, that's so stunning. Wow, that's so brave. Look at Kamala. Look at her go. Look at her. She's absolutely incredible. But look at the content of the character. You know, who is Kamala Harris? She played a significant role in the incarceration of, you know, black men, especially in the great state of California. And, you know, this is almost like going to be a larger version of what the people of Dalton, Illinois are going through. Are you familiar with that story?
No. Tell me about it. I'm not familiar.
Oh, you don't know. Well, my friend, when it gets down to Dalton, Illinois, let's talk about Dalton, Illinois. Yeah, there is a person called the super mayor. So the super mayor, who is the super mayor?
Oh,
So
yes.
Dalton, Illinois. So
Yes,
there's
I remember now. Okay,
so
but
Mayor
keep telling the story though.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard spent $43,000 on Amazon in one day. So this was done by Lori Lightfoot of all people. So they actually got Lori Lightfoot to investigate into this. And as it stands, the village of Dalton is in a severe amount of debt because their mayor ran up its city departments and its credit cards, and now the people in Dalton, Illinois, are in a state of shock because they have no money and the mayor ran away. And what's even more interesting is that you had a resident from Dalton, Illinois. She went on to speak to the crowd in the city and said, "Look, you know, my family's been living here for a couple of generations, and we just can't vote for somebody just because they look like us or, you know, they identify as us. We got to judge them by the content of their character. And a lot of these politicians are criminals. People like, you know, the entirety of the DNC and RNC. They're all professional criminals. And you have politicians who only care about enriching themselves. Their main goal is to make more money. So whenever you check out Unusual Whales on Twitter, on the X account, I promoted a few times on Hard Lens Media. When you see that, just remember there is bipartisanship, and that is the bipartisanship of getting richer and serving the donors.
Yeah.
I for one have found this to be heartbreaking in many ways because this is what we've been reduced to. And so what we're seeing in Dalton is probably a small micro version of what we're going to see at the DNC convention as Kamala's anointed in, because Kamala has a lot of scandals surrounding her, and it's really disappointing to see Trump lead his campaign to absolute destruction.
Well, I mean, I don't think that Kamala's going to do particularly well in this debate because if you've seen Tulsi Gabbard destroy her in 2020, and she didn't do well then, and if Trump even does half of that, she'll lose. She'll lose horribly in that debate, and then her poll numbers will crash and burn. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she'll do excellent in that debate, and Trump won't do anything. You know, we'll see. But as of now, I'm looking at the debate. After that date, that honeymoon will be over, and Americans will kind of start coming like, ugh, to
Yeah.
Kamala. We'll see.
Well, I think people will be reminded of who Kamala is very soon. I mean, I remember when she made her announcement on Martin Luther King Day in 2019. There
Oh
was a
God.
lot there was a lot of buzz. There was a lot of fanfare. You know, looking at 2019 again, it was suspicious to see her, you know, just hype everything up. But then as soon as she started opening her mouth and talking about policies, she was eviscerated, ripped apart. And that's why her campaign went broke. I mean, no one could really identify with her. She was always a constant liar. And the only reason why she even got to the vice presidency is because she met the criteria to help Joe Biden cross the finish line. But all in all, her entire tenure as VP to Biden can be viewed as absolutely terrible and abysmal. So, yeah. And by the way, folks, real quick, for the city or village of Dalton, Illinois, is $3.65 million in debt.
It's like I remember now when you mentioned the super mayor. I'm like, oh yeah, her. She's the one that blatantly like gave a ridiculous amount of overtime to police, even though they work normal hours. They still got paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Most of those cops. Then she went to Vegas and spent a bunch of money there. I mean, she charged up a ridiculous amount of money on those credit cards, and then she wouldn't give receipts to the city council. I'm like, you're the mayor. You give. That's how this works. You know, the city council is supposed to oversee you as the mayor. Like it's like the president saying, "Oh no, I'm not going to give you any receipts though. Everything I spent." Even though Congress doesn't even ask for anything now, just give the president carte blanche pretty much, no matter who's in power. but but yeah, I mean that woman wasn't she a felon before she even got elected to office?
Yes, yes. And hey, look, everybody deserves a second chance,
Oh
but
yeah, I agree. But
you know, vet your candidates thoroughly. And not only that, there were so many attempts to investigate the super mayor Dalton of Dalton, Illinois. And she constantly had like her own security, her own family members surrounding her and protecting her. And she was able to hide behind identity politics for a while to deflect criticism, which is a problem, because when you have to hide behind like labels and, you know, pronouns or identification, it tells me that you are somebody who should be questioned. We need to have good, responsible people. I don't care the color of your skin or who you worship or what generation you're part of, but this country is in desperate need of people who love the republic and care about the people and want to do everything they can to make our lives better. What we currently have is we have a system that encourages nepotism, that encourages corruption, and encourages the worst of the worst to seek the highest offices of the land.
She put up signs of herself also using government money. You know,
Oh God.
she would. I remember this. This is amazing to me. How long she lasted in office.
Well, this is Illinois, by the way. I mean, we have perfected corruption and feudalism.
What was funny when I covered the corruption here in New Jersey, when I forget who it was. It was a multi-millionaire real estate developer who was very powerful here in New Jersey politics until very recently. And I forget his name. The only reason why he was indicted was because he made Phil Murphy mad. Like him and Phil Murphy fought about something. So now all of a sudden he's indicted. I forget his name and I feel horrible about it, but like, yeah, I mean, he was indicted and he was there at the press conference when he was indicted, like with the Attorney General of New Jersey, like, hey, what's up? I'm here. What? I mean, you indicted me? I'll get off. Because he's like a power broker here in New Jersey. So it's like, and we're just as corrupt, if not even more corrupt at Illinois. So we have like a decades and long history of corruption here.
Well, that really does says a lot about the decades upon decades of corruption, not only in New Jersey and Illinois, but what Americans deal with. And, you know, I've been talking to a couple of my college friends and a few other people, and being honest, no one knows if they want to vote or not. I found this to be very, because so many are just like, not excited about Kamala or Trump. They are already dissatisfied with Biden. But now Kamala in. Some are calling me up like, "Hey, Kit, what do you think about Kamala Harris?" And I just tell them, "Look, she's a neoliberal politician. I don't vote Democrat. Do whatever you feel like, but let me explain to you why she is not who she says she is." And then I had a couple people saying to me, "Hey, Kit, I just remembered, like, during the primary, I remember how terrible she was. I forgot. Why is she still vice president?" No one has an answer.
She's the vice president because that's where the party bosses wanted her there.
Yeah.
Because they want her to be president. So they want her one heartbeat away from the presidency, from a nearly 80-year-old man. And now she's what, 2.5, 50-50 chance of becoming president herself. So
Yeah.
yeah, hit the political boss name here in New Jersey. It was indicted. Is named George Norcross.
Mhm.
He's a there was an alleged corruption in Camden here in New Jersey, which were about land, about they were building public housing or something, and George Norcross controlled all that. He controlled Camden. He controlled New Jersey pretty much, because every single politician that's elected in New Jersey either took money from him or took an endorsement or became friends with him. That's how powerful this man was at one point here in New Jersey. If you know who he is, he's a political boss here in New Jersey. You know who he is if you live here. But it's the only reason why he was indicted because him and Phil Murphy had a public fight about something stupid. So it's like, okay, well, let's indict him now. Screw it. I mean, he's not on our side anymore. So this is how corruption works in New Jersey. It's like this is how it works here, at least, and most of the country too, I'm sure. But let's see.
Well, so one thing I want to ask you about for New Jersey politics, like, is there anyone who's ever like received jail time for the corruption that they have done? I mean, has there ever been like any accountability for any of your politicians? Because I know here in Illinois, we've had a couple of governors and aldermen, either go to jail or be investigated by the FBI or
Yes.
rat out.
Mhm.
They actually did rat out. It was Trey. It was Trey the whole time.
Yeah, there's been a mayor that went to jail recently,
Oh,
like
about
5 or 6. A mayor, and I know because he's a mayor of Trenton, New Jersey, where I live. His name is what was his? I forget his name. Tony something or. Anyways, the whole point is he of course, as soon as he got elected, Tony Mack. As soon as he got elected, he immediately put in all his buddies and all his cronies in the most important spots in the city. Uh, and the issue was the waterworks department. He put his brother in charge, and brother never had a single piece of experience when it come down to handling water, ever. He never done
Wow.
anything. He was just, okay, he's my brother. Here, you're in charge of the waterworks. Oh, by the way, water was poisoned immediately. We had to boil our water for months on end because this incompetence, and on top of incompetence, then eventually after he left office, the FBI started investigating him and his brother, and it turns out that they were not extorting. They were taking money from the city. That's like Tiffany Haynard taking money from the city and putting it in their pockets. So Tony Mack recently went to prison. He did 5 years, or he's about to do 5 years or something. So yeah, that's a recent example of somebody going to prison here in New Jersey. A politician. Jesus.
We'll see. So, hold on. Show Himbo says, "Wait, OMG, is Chicago in Illinois?" The answer is yes, my friend. Chicago, the most corrupt city,
Yeah.
in the country. We only become number 2 when you added Washington D.C., and then of course we are in a very corrupt state, the great state of Illinois. So, world heavyweight champions here.
See, here is from the FBI. So, okay, this is like 10 years ago. But yeah, this is most recent example of somebody going to prison here in New Jersey. Trenton mayor sentenced to 58 months in federal prison on charges of federal extortion, bribery, and mail and wire fraud charges. So this is the whole story. Mack's brother, Raphael Mack, was convicted on 3 counts, but not found guilty on mail fraud. So, yeah, it was the waterworks. Like, they screwed up so bad that even the FBI came in and no, we got to investigate this. And they found all these charges, that and they was found guilty of, and Tony Mack ended up doing 58 months in federal prison, which is about 4 or 5 years. So
Okay, well, I mean, it's something. A lot of these politicians should be in jail for life for all the corruption that they do, but that's that's what we have,
then
and it's so disappointing. After doing this for 7 years, I'm not shocked by the amount of corruption. I'm more shocked by how so many of our fellow citizens are
mhm.
just there's ringing. I don't think that's me.
No, that's
Uh,
me. My phone
Okay.
is going off.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, no. I just am rather surprised at how a lot of my fellow Americans have accepted the corruption and the abuse of power. And just like, well, this is just how it is. And there are people my age and younger that are like, well, what are you going to do? It's like, is anyone going to act? Is there anybody going to be like some kind of pushback? Because we see in other countries, we at least see the citizens engaged in the political discourse.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And Bob Menendez, the senator from here, was indicted recently for blatant corruption. Hell, they found gold bars in his house. Like, who keeps gold bars anymore? But he does. So they found gold bars in his house here in New Jersey. It's like, oh
That's
yeah, indictment. Here you go.
pure treasure, pure treasure. Who doesn't love to see stuff like
Mhm.
that?
Yeah, but I'm like, come on, man. Only New Jersey, only New Jersey. No, but Illinois is just as corrupt, if not more, maybe. So it's like
Oh,
Rob Rob
absolutely.
Rob Blagojevich, that former governor of Illinois, went to
Yep.
prison too.
We've had a lot of our
Mhm.
governors go to prison. We've had him. Oh my goodness, who's the other governor? Why am I? What? I actually met him once too.
Oh,
We've had a couple of governors go to jail. It was a Republican one. He went to jail because he gave truck licenses to
hmm.
guys who just did not meet the requirements to be truck drivers, and it caused a couple accidents, and he went to jail. He
Well,
went to jail.
not giving licenses to people who who shouldn't have it. Yeah, that's pretty dangerous. So
Mhm.
I wanted to go back to Tim Walz because I'm fascinated by this pick. I mean, why? I thought for sure, and I covered this on my Friday show where they would go with Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania because he's really popular. He's Jewish, and he's popular in Pennsylvania, which is a state that Kamala Harris desperately needs if she's going to even have a shot at the White House. Instead, they go with Tim Walz, who's the governor of Minnesota, who I just barely heard of 6 months ago, and I follow politics closely because I do this show. So I didn't even know who he was until recently. So I'm like, why? Why Tim Walz? And the only reason I can come up with is to try to make professional lefties online happy. Because that they all happy. They all
Yeah,
love him.
yeah. I think that was a strategic move for the Democrats to at least bring someone who's safe, but also safe in regards towards how Israel feels about its relationship with the United States, because they want somebody who is not going to push back against Netanyahu or any of the actions from the apartheid government.
Yeah.
I am rather furious at the acceptance of how many progressives have just rolled over and just gave themselves up to this whole idea of Kamala being VP. And I think they're blinding themselves to identity politics. And Tim Walz added some additional fuel to the
Oh,
Democrats
I think
for
we got a name here. George Ryan, you talking about?
yes, George Ryan. That's the one. There we go.
Yeah.
Anyways, as I was
Yeah.
saying
There you go.
for
Thank you,
Tim
Doctor
Walz.
Nick.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Dr. Nick. That's why we
Yeah.
love you, buddy. Keep on doing a good job. He was able to get people to relax and accept Kamala Harris as VP. But what I have to say is, folks, this is not a brand new person who's seeking office. We've seen Kamala Harris in power as VP for the last 3.5 years. She did a terrible job. And no additional person like Tim Walz is going to make things look shinier or better. All
Mm-mm.
right. I mean, look at the working relationship that the Biden camp had with the Harris camp. They didn't communicate. I covered on my show. INN has covered. Everybody has talked
Yeah.
about it. How again, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, there wasn't a lot of coordination between these people.
Yeah.
They weren't working together. Kamala was hemorrhaging a staff, 47 people down to 4. So that means 43 people left Kamala Harris because because she was a stellar performer? No, probably because she might have been a nightmare to work with.
She's impossible to deal with as a boss. So it's like, even Simone Sanders, who's at MSNBC, worked for her and she left. And then now she's talking about how great Kamala. You must vote for Kamala. I'm going to vote for her. Didn't you leave the administration because you were so mad about how horrible she was just 2 years ago? You see, these people don't have principles. Like, none of them do. Like, none of these people who are either Democrats or Republicans have principles. Like, let's go to what's his face, the Trump VP, J.D. Vance. Just a few years ago, talking about how horrible Trump is, and now he's the VP. Now he's like, oh, Trump is great. What are you talking about, man? I love Trump. So there's no principles here at all on either side.
Well, and no politician follows through with their principles. And if we think Kamala is going to be kind to the uncommitted voters or progressives or independents, like, no, it's never going to happen. And Tim Walz, okay, right now there's all this hype around him, and yes, he will be debating JD Vance, so that should be a exciting showdown, possibly, maybe. But I'm not impressed with them. I'm not impressed with either one of these two people, Kamala or Tim. They don't represent my values, and they don't represent any kind of real significant change. I expect more of the same of neoliberal policies. And I have to wonder really what Netanyahu said to Kamala Harris, because when he went to speak before our Congress, he spoke to Joe Biden privately, and then he spoke to Kamala in private. And I'm willing to bet he said, hey, when you pick a VP, pick somebody who won't challenge or upset Israel. I'm willing to bet that 10 out of 10. That's had to have happened.
Netanyahu is like kingmaker. I mean, so like, look, you better pick somebody who I like, or at the very least won't challenge me, because or else. But Josh Shapiro fits that too, which is weird that she wouldn't go with him. Again, I'm like Tim Walz, like, okay, it seems like they picked them to make the professional left happy, and they are very happy, very happy. All these online liberals we all know them too. They're all very happy. Like the Crystal Balls, the Kyle Kalinskis, the Young Turks. They're all this ecstatic over Tim Walz. They're all collectively creaming themselves over Tim Walz. And he's like, look at all his progressive policies. You can bring that to the Kamala Harris administration, except he won't actually do anything because he's the VP. But just ignore that. And he's also pro-genocide and pro-Ukraine, which we supposedly hate too. But ignore foreign policy. Focus on the domestic, which he has no control over since he's the VP. But I digress. It's just so frustrating to watch these people, just turn on a dime. None of these people have principles.
No. And what I want to tell people is you have to think critically. You have to be able to look at these politicians and really ask yourself, how many times have you seen them tell the story of, oh, we care about you, or please, you got to vote for us because the other opposition doesn't respect you, and you have to do everything we ask for, because if you don't help us, things are going to get worse for you, and you don't want that to happen. To which I have to say, I've been lied to once. I don't want to be lied to over and over and over again. That's just not how I want to live my life.
So initially in 2008, Obama got me. I believed in him.
Yep, right here.
He got me.
Obama got me.
Yep. I'm Barack Obama.
Obama.
But he got me, and to my eternal shame, I voted for him again in 2012. I knew I shouldn't have, but it was like, I just went with him again. And then I'm not sure what you did.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I had my awakening, I would say, after the 2016 primary, because in 2008 and 2012, I did vote for Obama, and and again, it's just a little before I, got involved in this, media landscape. So, people make mistakes, and I had the audacity into thinking that even Bernie Sanders would have a strong campaign in 2020, and I was wrong, because after 2016, or during the 2016 election, I made a promise to myself: I'm not going to support Hillary Clinton, and I'm not going to support Donald Trump. So I voted third party. And after that, I've been consistent on it. And Bernie was especially in 2020, was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, oh, if this is all a joke, then you're wasting my time, and I cannot be seen in the same room with you. So
No.
that's when I broke away. So, and
Yeah,
I've been consistent about that ever since.
So Snow says Justin Trudeau got me too, so that's worse. Wasn't his father great though, which is why a lot of Canadians kind of fell for him. Again,
you mean Fidel Castro?
I know Justin Trudeau's dad had a good reputation in Canada. I do remember reading that. So let's see. We have Miss Witchy. She's here finally. I was wondering where you were at.
Hey.
So I'm glad you're here with us now. Let's see. Kitty, you're going on her channel again next weekend. So
yep.
She's already saying that. Okay.
It's like the day before the first official day of the DNC convention.
Okay. So look forward to that, everyone. And to me, my greatest disappointment is Jesse Ventura and his reaction to this. He's fully endorsed the Kamala Harris Tim Walz ticket. He's so excited for them. And I'm like, where is it? Yeah, even the Jesse Ventura 5 years ago would have never done this. I don't know what's gotten into him this last year or two. Because it's he's fully behind his ticket. I don't understand it.
I think he's just basically again, sometimes people just fall. People just leave. People walk away. And, I would say don't ever meet your heroes. And I know a lot of people are really upset at at what he did, but at the same time too, okay, if he's all in for the Democrats, fine, but that's not going to convince me to vote Democrat.
Yeah, no, it's pretty disappointing to see a man who I admired, and hell, I have a few of his books here in my house laying around, talking about how both parties, we talk about how both parties are evil and both parties are basically the uniparty. First time I heard the word uniparty from Jesse, I think. So he knew what he was talking about at one point. And now he's fully behind this ticket, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is just one example of it. He went on CNN, I think this might have been yesterday, but he did this interview where he's defending Tim Walz's military record.
Joining me
for no reason.
Evening. Governor Ventura, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm really eager to hear your take on this because you are a former Navy SEAL. You served in Vietnam. And I have to ask you what you think of this attack from the Trump van's ticket on Governor Walz's military service.
Well, Laura, I'll tell you what I think. I think it's shameful. I think it's shameful that a veteran would attack another veteran. Governor Walz served honorably for 24 years in the National Guard. After 20 years, you are eligible to retire at any time you deem necessary. They talk about him missing his deployment. Well, maybe Mr. Vance should ask the real question. What is the National Guard doing deploying to a foreign country in a foreign war? Well, let's go into history and figure out how that happened. That happened because George W. Bush and Dick Cheney went into the Iraq War based on lies, no weapons of mass destruction, no ties to Al-Qaeda, nothing with 9/11, and they ran out of bodies. They needed more bodies. They couldn't implement a draft. That would be political suicide. So what George Bush did was sign an executive order sending the National Guard into foreign deployment. The National Guard is not for foreign deployment. Their name says what they do. They guard our nation from within.
Yeah, so that's Jesse going over the top to defend Tim Walz's military record because the allegation is Tim Walz used stolen valor. He claimed that he served in Iraq, even though he really didn't. He retired right before they actually were deployed. So his unit went out, but he didn't. Which again, that's what the allegation is.
Well, I find it also to be rather disappointing that he would again not go. I mean, I served in the military, and I mean I get it. There's always that point of retiring or all that other stuff, but there's always a speckle of truth in regards to what's being said about these politicians because they don't have a squeaky clean record. These are not people who can tell the truth. Telling the truth is anathema to them.
And it's just, and I was like greatly disappointed to see Jesse just, and he also endorsed Tim Walz for governor a couple of years ago. But I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really care about that because he's a local governor and he lives in Minnesota, or he's from Minnesota. Is he? I'm not sure if he still lives in Mexico or not, but
Well,
he
I guess he's supporting the home team because
Yeah.
that's not the first time he endorsed Tim Walz. He did that so again in 2022. Shout out to Case Study QB for that video.
Yeah. So he's done all this stuff, and it's like he's forgotten everything he said, and now all of a sudden he's just a Democrat now, and it started right after COVID, which is unfortunate. I don't know what changed him there, but it started right after then. That's when he really changed. But yeah, I mean and then you got, let's see, like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Like that's not a ticket that I would be overly excited for as a Democrat. But I digress. It doesn't really matter what I think. So I'm not a Democrat, and I'll never vote for him again. But Democrats seem to be excited, even though they didn't cast a single vote for Kamala Harris in either primary. But they're all really excited. They're all really excited for this girl boss to become president, even though she's massively incompetent and will most likely lead to if she gets into office, she'll be a one-term president because she's so incompetent that Americans would be disgusted by her. She'll lose in 2028, and then you'll have Republicans dominating the White House for the next 10 to 20 years because that's how horrible she's going to be if we have elections by then. But that's what I think. I mean,
I personally am in the camp of if Kamala Harris were to get elected into office, not only will the censorship intensify,
oh yeah, that's true.
but I'm willing to bet that a lot of us in independent media will. I mean, and again, the same thing could be said under a Trump administration, but I could see a wave of pride and ego from the liberals in regards to silencing voices that would be critical of Kamala Harris, because you know what they're going to say. If you're critical of Kamala Harris, you're sexist,
You're
bigoted,
racist.
you're racist, you're all these phobes and isms. And I could see them coming after a lot of us. I could see them coming after alternative platforms like Rumble or Kick or Odyssey and Rockfin. I could see that happening. I'm kind of getting some feedback.
Oh, from me or?
I think from you. I think maybe.
Oh.
There you go. I think now I think it's gone. All right, perfect.
Uh-huh.
But there will be a huge suppression if Kamala Harris were to get elected into office. I can see a YouTube and a lot of other these larger platforms like X or Facebook really going hard against a lot of us, especially those in independent media. Because on our Facebook page alone, like we anytime we post any of our original content, no views, no likes, none of that stuff. Time too with YouTube too. when you get hit as much as we got hit, that impacts the channel greatly, and I know that that'll be the changing environment. So if Trump were to be elected in, I don't see things getting as bad, but it'll be almost halfway there. So no matter who wins, the censorship is going to be something that we have to face all together. And this even goes to the audience too. Like I still get messages from people like, "Hey, are you deleting my comments?" No, I'm not. That's YouTube and its policy doing it. I wish I could change it. You got to read.
I've been getting complaints in INN too from subscribers saying I've liked your content, but it doesn't register my like. Like when you like it, it still says 0, which I've noticed too from when I like INN content or even your content. I like it and it still says like 0. It still says the same number. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've noticed that too. So there's not much I can do about that or we can do about that. But thanks for letting us know. But so we can tell our audience to keep liking, even though it's not registering. But
yeah, and God, I here's the thing. It is rather painful, I would say. Well, not painful, just it's annoying because like when you're telling people, hey, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, it's like they know, but even when you get new audience members, you have to say it because like it every like really boosts up the algorithm. Every comment boosts it up. Every time you share our stuff, and that goes for any content creator. It does help a lot. And so we appreciate every view, every like, or every comment. And I could see people's likes or comments or videos being taken down under a Kamala administration. So it is in my interest that these liberals don't get that victory. And I say this on a personal note, because if they do, can you imagine how insufferable they'll be?
Oh
Be like,
God.
oh, that's right, there's Kamala. And here's the thing, I saw a microcosm of that, and that is when Lori Lightfoot got into office. And when Lightfoot got into office, I'll be clear here, at least the first 100 days, it was okay. It was okay. Maybe, and I'm being generous here, but as soon as Lightfoot got criticism or was confronted or challenged, she just became this terrible mayor. And I could see Kamala Harris going there, because now she'll be on the front lines. She'll be in the spotlight. She will be that person that everyone's going to. She can't, because see, as being vice president,
you can hide.
Yeah, she could hide. Okay, of course you're the number 2 of the country, but for the most part, yeah, you didn't have all the light on you. You didn't have all eyes on you. But when you're president, everybody's going to be looking at you, Kamala. Everybody's going to be wondering what you're going to do, because when you get into office, Kamala, that war in Ukraine is still going on. The economy is still in the crapper. The genocide in Gaza is still happening.
She's gonna crumble. She's gonna crumble. She crumbled in 2020, and even when Tulsi barely pushed her around a little bit in that debate, her campaign like completely crumbled. And then what if she were to become president? Her administration is going to crumble rather quickly, and she's just going to be elected within 100 days probably. It'll be a shit show. Like, oh my God, Americans are like, oh my God, she's this bad. Like, yeah, she's that bad. People hate her. People hate working for her. Even when she's attorney general in California, same thing. People quit left and right under her because she's a terrible leader. She's hated, and you're gonna make her president? Like, I mean, there'll be more turnover in the Harris administration than any administration in American history. I mean, they hate her. People hate her.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here's my fear. That is, are we living in the timeline? Are we living in the era right now where we could see the office of the president become a position? And of course, again, yes, the highest bidder usually has a final say, but it'll be out there in the public. Because what would it mean to be president? Because if Kamala does a piss poor job being a leader of this country, I could see no one taking that office seriously anymore. Like, people are gonna be like, well, who wants the job? Who really wants the job of being in charge of a global superpower? Will we have our final Constantine? Will we have our Romulus Augustus? And for those who don't know, Romulus Augustus was the last Roman emperor of the Western Empire. He was the last one, and he was nothing more than a frightened little child. And all of his previous, at least his 10 other previous predecessors, were people who either murdered their way into the office, bribed their way, or bid. That's right, gave up some of their hard-earned cash to be emperor. And that was it. And what does it even mean then? Does it even signal respect? Because the whole world is watching us right now, as a country, as a people. And Kamala, she's got all these quirks, and she's got all these ways she handles herself or presents herself before the public, laughing like a hyena. No, or laughing like a dime store joker. Yeah. And that does not present enthusiasm or excitement. And think about how she's going to be addressing the leaders of the free world before the UN or at any kind of global summit meeting. Like, people are going to look at her like, what are you trying to say? Because all what she does is give out word salads, nothing but pre-typed up scripts. She doesn't have an original thought to save her life.
Which is why she doesn't have any policies on her website. A lot of the reason, because her donors haven't told her what her policy is going to be. I guarantee that's what it is.
I would go on to say, like, look, if I were to give advice to Kamala Harris, there's a couple of things I'd tell her to do right away, but I'm going to use an old Napoleon Bonaparte quote, and that is, never correct your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Yeah.
No, you never do that. So
no, it's like, I mean, it's ridiculous. everybody's liberals are so excited about this ticket, and I'm like rolling my eyes. Like, is
I
it just Tim Walz? Is it really that old? And like,
no
like,
no. What it is that this was the perfect counter towards what we saw in July. Now, in July, what do we see? Biden failed miserably in his first debate against
yeah,
Trump. We also saw Biden stutter and stammer at his big boy press conference. And then we saw the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, and there was a lot of momentum. This right here is the counter, and the media was ready. CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, Fox News, of all of them. All of
yeah,
them were promoting this. Oh, wow, Kamala's in. And here comes Tim Walz. And the hype was built up. And there's the propaganda machine pushing this down everyone's throat. And everyone is right now susceptible to this propaganda of Kamala's going to save us.
yes.
And I hate using "save us, Kamala" because that's what TYT used back in the
Yeah.
day when they
Oh,
were trying
yes.
to. I forget what they were trying to
was-
do again,
I
but there was
think
that
it
whole
was-
hashtag "save us, Kamala," and she didn't do that.
Yeah, I remember correctly. It was they wanted the $15 minimum wage. in
Yes,
some
there we
bill.
go. Yeah,
That's what it was. It was in a bill. They were in the first 100 days of the Biden administration. They were that bill that gave us the last stimulus check. That's what it was. I forget what it's called right now, but that last check we got, which was just a joke, but yeah, I mean that was what it was. They wanted the $15 minimum wage in there.
yeah,
And
we
it didn't
weren't getting
happen.
That.
There again,
Hey,
that Cenk.
you're not-
I remember
you're not
Cenk
getting
like
that.
"Save us, Kamala." Use the hashtag "Save us, Kamala." I'm like,
Save us,
"It's not gonna
Kamala,"
work."
and no, she can't. She
It's not
doesn't know how
gonna
to.
work.
She doesn't know how to save herself. I think in many ways she got into office or she's now in a position of power that she can't get out of, and she is not qualified
She's
to
not
be
qualified for
president.
this
And
job.
and right now everyone's hyping her up. And you want to know who's going to be making the decisions for Kamala? Goldman Sachs, Wall Street, all the big
Yep.
banks, all the
They're-
big corporations. They're going to be
Yep.
telling her what to do. And any press conference she does have, any kind of big meeting or event, it's going to be pre-scripted. There's going to be pre-selected questions so that Kamala doesn't look like an idiot.
And the media will right along with it because they want air access. So nothing
Mhm.
will change. All right.
But remember, Kamala also lied to people too, because remember, this is the same Kamala Harris that covered up the fact that Joe Biden has been going through a mental decline, that there's something wrong with Joe Biden.
Which is part of the Trump campaign strategy of pointing that out. Like, hey, look, she hid this too. She knew about this and hid it. So Kathy says they will keep her hidden. Kamala, they better. They have any
Yeah.
shot at winning because it's
Yeah,
like
they will.
Hillary. It's like Hillary. As soon as Hillary spoke, her popularity went down. Same thing with Kamala. As soon as she speaks, which is why she hasn't spoken. She hasn't done an interview. She hasn't done anything. In fact, when Trump went to Chicago recently for the Black Journalist Conference, Kamala was invited too, and she didn't go either.
Yeah, and she
She
should
didn't
have
even go
been there.
there. And she should have been there. It's a friendly
Mhm.
place for her. These are Black journalists. There's no way they'll go after her. I went after Trump. She
In
still
fact,
didn't go.
in fact, that would have been the most pampered conference for Kamala if she did go. But the thing is, she might not know how to answer any questions at all. Period. Even if they're softball questions.
Probably.
And
Yeah,
and the thing is, Trump could have easily handled that entire situation far better. But at least he showed up. And
Yeah.
at least, and the thing is, he did bring up Kamala's track record of mass incarceration, especially towards Black families. I do know that a lot of people have been trying to make their predictions in regards to how this election will play out. And, I know Keaton from Due Dissidence brought some very good points. Like, if Trump continues down this pathway of identity politics and constantly going after people, especially if Trump supporters are going after people because they're not going to support Trump, then yeah, very well, Trumpers, you could lose this election. But I would say it's 50-50. I'm going to treat this election right now the same way as I treated the 2016 election. It's all going to matter of who's going to turn out to vote. Now, Trump has a lot of momentum behind him. Trump has a lot of support. It all just matters of who's going to follow his message and how many people will show up to vote. And let's face it, election integrity. So it's 50-50. It's up in the air. Who will get the most people to turn out so they could secure enough votes so that they can win said state's electoral college votes. So that's what's going to probably happen.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It'll come down to excitement, basically. Who's excited to come out to vote? Because I'm not. Unless the questions are something that is important, like the questions in the bottom. That's when if something I care about, then I'm going. If not, I might even not even vote on election day. So it depends on the situation.
Well, if there's ballot initiatives in your
Yeah,
state,
the
then
questions, the ballot
there you go.
initiatives. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's why if I signed like in 20, I think it was 2016 when we legalized marijuana here in New Jersey. It was 2016. Well, no, it was in 2020. I remember now because we got those mail-in ballots and I had it there. And legalization of marijuana. It was the banning of plastic bags and something else.
don't get me started with those plastic bags because we got that problem here in this state too. And if they ask you, hey, did you use plastic or paper bags, and they charge you like an additional tax, and I'm like,
Yeah, they do here.
yeah,
Ever since we banned plastic bags, yeah, they charging for bags now.
I friggin' hate that because see that's like now I bring in like my IKEA bags, like okay, it's all gonna go in this one grocery bag.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
that's what we do here. But if you don't have a bag, they'll charge you for it now for a
Yeah.
tote bag. It's unlike even a plastic bag.
Yeah,
So we bring our own bags.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I voted against the plastic bag ban. It's like, I mean, I'm like, okay, you're gonna ban plastic bags. What about the garbage bags? They're all plastic.
Yeah.
Like the garbage bag, put our garbage in. So I'm like, why are we banning one plastic bag, not the other ones? Like the garbage bags, we still can use those, but you can't use plastic bags in the store. So it doesn't make any sense. So I voted against it. But marijuana legalization, like, yeah, I'm down for that. So
Hey, but they're doing groundbreaking work, the Democrats, and all their policies because they care about the environment. They care about the infrastructure. They care about the people. They're supposed to care. They care, and right here, you don't care.
they don't care. Social emotional learning says, leave my plastic bags alone. Yeah?
Leave them alone.
That's why I go to Pennsylvania to shop and I get a bunch of plastic bags because they're legal over there still.
That's
But
right.
Yesterday,
Go ahead.
about infrastructure, I'm not sure if you saw. Yesterday, my my electric went out for hours because a transformer blew, like literally blew. There's like an explosion, like I heard it, like, and the electric went out. I was like, oh, a transformer went again, didn't it? And like, yep, it did. I went outside, like, and it was on fire and everything. So fire department had to come out. They had to hose it down. Then they took hours before the electric company came out, and I was worried that, and like people, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do the show tomorrow, but it's ridiculous. It went out. It explodes every 3 to 4 months. That those things explode. I did a video about it in my car last night or yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I saw that, man.
Yeah, it blew like, and then luckily it was like, oh, I'll be able to do the show. I know it'll come back before tomorrow, but holy crap, it blew. Like the fire department's out there. I'm standing there with my beer, like, what the fuck? It's like, look at this bullshit. It always happens. It always happens. I'm like, and like, yeah. And then it's like, no, like that shouldn't happen. This shouldn't be normal. I pointed out the Ukraine and refunding Ukraine and Israel, giving them hundreds of billions of dollars, but we get nothing. Our infrastructure is falling apart here. We can barely have electricity. Barely have electricity without it either going out or exploding, or it's just. In Puerto Rico is even worse. So I'm grateful that there's no rolling blackouts here. But
I actually have a few friends in Puerto Rico, and one of the segments that I did, he sent me a couple of videos, and he thanked me because he's like, no one's talking about these rolling blackouts, and what they're doing in Puerto Rico is very similar to what the people of Lahaina are going through on the island of Maui, and that is they're being displaced, people are being removed. And you have a large-scale gentrification effort that is displacing the original populations that have been living in those communities for generations. The rolling blackouts isn't a failure of infrastructure at this point. It's a plan to get people so depressed, so miserable that they want to up and leave. But people of Puerto Rico aren't. They're not a foreign country. They're U.S. citizens like us.
Yes, they are. They're Americans. The only reason why they're Americans is because they needed extra bodies for World War I. The Jones Act, and they needed just give the Puerto Rican citizenship and throw them on the front line with black people and let them die. They needed more bodies. Yeah. They didn't want citizenship. The Puerto Ricans initially is like they just handed it to them because they needed more men to die. in wars. So it happened in World War One. It happened in World War Two. It happened in Korea, Vietnam, and I'm personally involved with that because my father was drafted for Vietnam in 1964.
My father,
Hmm.
he enlisted in. He was in the Marine Corps. He was also in Nam too.
My dad didn't go to Nam actually because he had a deformity in his arm, so they sent him home. So he lucked out there, but
Very
yeah,
lucky indeed.
because he couldn't do this with his arm, like because it was like a deformity there. So they sent him home, and he's like, "Oh, I can get to go." It's like he walked out, it's 1964, so he had to find a phone, and there was a phone there in the office, and called his dad to pick him up again. My grandfather. He's like, "Oh yeah, they don't need me anymore because of my arm." It's like, "Oh, thank God." It's like sure, yeah. So he went back to the base. The base was I think in Ponce or is right next to it's the next town over from where we live. So yeah, 1964, and he was this close to being in Vietnam. Meh.
Well, it's all I know is I have one story that my dad did tell my mom, and that was it. Like he only spoke of it once. Now I never met him. He died before I was born, but he only spoke of the experience only once, and he was there during the Tet offense, which was
Oh, yeah.
not cash money. It wasn't
No,
cash
that
money.
was pretty brutal. Yeah, I know. I read about it and saw like, oh God. I mean, yeah, it's Vietnam vets are they don't speak about it. A lot of them very rarely do because
Nope.
it's horrifying war. It was direct combat for the most part because the Viet Cong is more they were like in your face. I mean they didn't fight from afar because they didn't have the bombs we did. So they were right in your face. But you had to do a lot of hand to hand combat, and that's traumatizing. I mean, I can imagine having to kill people like right in your face like that.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Let's see. Let's check out the chat too. We got a lot
Yeah.
of good people in here.
Yeah, I mean BRICS. Oh yeah, I mean the United States. Discussing BRICS. I mean the United States is quickly getting shut out. They're becoming a multipolar world, and the United States acts like it's 1986, and they're still the only sole superpower. Like running around arrogantly telling other countries what to do and stuff. And I'm like, no. In fact, even the Saudis have said fuck off to the petrodollar. I mean, eventually, if they did that, it's almost over. I mean, the United States is going to fall. The empire is going to fall without the Saudis. Without anybody doing business with the U.S. dollar, because U.S. dollar is the reserve currency as of now, at least. The rest of the world could say fuck that pretty soon, but for now, we're still that's the only reason why the U.S. dollar is still like powerful because we're that reserve currency. But once that goes away, I don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know what we're talking about, mass inflation, or we're talking about eggs costing $10 a carton, which are already close. In some parts of the country, eggs cost what, $7-8 a carton.
Oh God, I remember when eggs used to be cheaper. I remember milk.
I
used
know
to
they
be
were
cheaper. I
dollar.
remember
They were
gas.
$1.50.
I remember gas used to be for $1. I was
Yeah,
a kid back in the day. Like
2000 when I first drove in 2004 or 5, gas was like $1 something. Now
Mhm.
today it's like $5 or $6. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
So let's see.
What else we got here? Let's see. Social emotional learning says, dude, my uncle went to Vietnam, and all my
Mhm.
aunts say he couldn't hold the baby because he would see is a bomb. He owned a house, but he was always in the bars. Ah,
Yeah,
sorry. So
yeah,
so
that's.
sorry.
Hmm.
Dr. Nate, 79 cents a gallon. I remember that when milk
Yeah,
used to be that cheap.
yeah.
Now what? It's like $3.99, $4.99 now.
Like today, I tried to go get like chips and soda for no. This one in chips and soda, so I had $5 on me, and chips, like a big bag of chips, is almost $5. I'm like, what? I remember back in the day, it
And,
was like a
and
dollar something.
all it is just air in those things.
I know it's half air now. It's not even full, and the other it's like 3/4 empty because it's ridiculous. It's horrible.
Hmm.
We are falling apart, and we're falling apart quickly. And all I get on X is these both sides complaining, both political sides, like, oh, well, Trump and JD Vance, they're weird. That's all we get from Democrats. They're weird, 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 weird. It's just weird. They're weird.
They're weird. They're weird, bad men. They're mean and they
Yeah,
hurt
they're
my
weird.
feelings.
And I'm like, and then there are Republicans like, no, we're not weird. You're weird because you want to do trans rights and all this other stuff. So it's like, you're weird. No, I'm weird. You're weird. I'm weird. Oh yeah, no what? But you're weird. You're weirder than I am. And that's all we got. Is that all we got? That's what American politics has been devolving to. Like the I'm weird. You're more weird than I am, so you must vote for the person that's less weird. So that's all we've devolved to. It's not evolution. It's just devolved to. It's just embarrassing. Like I cover this stuff. I'm like, damn, this is all we do. This is all it is. It's just embarrassing to cover this stuff, and even being American right now, it's not cool. It's like we're probably a laughing stock of the world in the way that we're handling politics now. Then we got cringe press conferences from white dudes for Kamala and white girls for Kamala, and I'm like, actually the white dudes one was horrible.
Oh,
I
I don't know which one's worse, if it's the white dudes or the white gals for Kamala, because you had that Miss Frizzle or whoever that lady was talking like, here's how we could be a good ally, and then you have the white dudes, and I'm like, oh my god, you're a bunch of cucks.
They're like cuck virgin dude, like incels. It's like, and I can't believe that Jeff Bridges was there. Like, I'm that dude, like this Big Lebowski character in that movie.
Dude. Hey,
that dude, yeah. It's like,
separate the artist from the character, okay? That's what you got to do. Separate the art from the character. That's all.
It's tough to do that sometimes. I'm like, oh, like, what are you doing here, man? And then Luke Skywalker was there, which no surprise. I mean, he's just a hack for the Democrats at this point. And you had just what was worse. I think the dudes were worse just based off. I'm not surprised that a lot of these white women were like that, but the dudes, like the alleged dudes, like, so like, yeah, my uncle was put in a body bag for a whole day from a severe head wound in Vietnam. Then he woke up. His mother got the message he was dead. She didn't believe it because of her religion than anyone. Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Man.
Vietnam was brutal. I mean, and we had no reason to be there. It wasn't like there was no legit reason to be there.
Mm-hmm. I know when my father came back, he was at least from what he told my mom, it was it was really rough for him, and he had a hard time adjusting. He was able, to get his life somewhat together, and eventually, that's how I got here.
Yeah. Jack Black broke my heart. Yeah, Jack Black was in that meeting too.
Jack Black is dead to me. He's been dead to me for some time. He's been dead to me. We don't say that name in this household.
Yeah. I missed some of the show, accidentally fell asleep. That's fine. You can go back and watch the beginning.
Time travel. Wibbly wobbly. Time wobbly. Oh my goodness. Time does fly by, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's 8:35 already. It doesn't even feel like it. Here on the East Coast, at least, so it's 8:35. So it's like, yeah, Steph fell. It's fine. I mean, just go back and watch the beginning after we're done here. Jack Black. My uncle showed up alive. Wild shite. Yeah, I mean, my dad nearly went to Vietnam. I told the story just now, but yeah, he was already an alcoholic before Vietnam. So imagine if he would have survived and came back.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I just don't know what would happen, because my parents were married in 1979. I was born in 1986, so I might be here. I might have been here in a different version, or my dad would have died. I wouldn't be here at all. Be here, so this show would not be happening.
Don't worry. It's decided that this show must happen. That's why. That's right. Angel in the Afternoon, Hardlands Media, Indie News Network, live and direct, 10 out of 10, life-changing video.
Yeah. So, who's Kerry Washington?
What do you mean?
No, Kamala Wynn's account. I'm looking at X. Kamala Wynn's account tweeted out, Kerry Washington has announced she's endorsing Kamala Harris for president.
All right, let's Kerry Washington. Let's go find out together.
Is she an actress? She must be an actress, I assume.
Kerry Washington. She is, I guess she's an actress.
Yeah, I recognize the name. I think she done some.
So she's She was in Django Unchained, Unprisoned,
Yeah.
Scandal, Little Fires Everywhere, Little Man, Save the Last Dance. Aw, ain't that
Yeah.
nice?
Yeah, I remember her now. That's why I was like, Kerry Washington. I still remember the name, and you said like, yeah, I know her. She endorsed Kamala Harris apparently, so
Okay, well,
like, who cares? But
till we can get some confirmation. But okay. Kerry Washington. Well, okay, going all in for Kamala, I guess.
actress, it's fine. I mean, war is tough. I mean, I'm glad my father didn't go, but still, I mean, war. And I remember somebody telling me, well, he would have gone, you probably would have benefited from the Vietnam War benefits. And like, okay, but my dad I probably wouldn't even be here because my father probably been the first death because he would have been the front lines.
I actually saw the video where she endorsed Kamala. It's cringe. Don't watch. Save your sanity. Don't.
I'm sure it's cringe. That's why I wouldn't watch it either. I'm like, no.
Yeah,
So,
it's not good.
It's like all of these celebrities are just getting. This like they got behind Hillary in 2016. It's just that cringe, They all got behind her.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a rally, I think in Ohio, when LeBron James and J.R. Smith did a rally for Hillary Clinton in 2016. I'm like,
Oh,
really,
LeBron?
LeBron?
They did that?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, LeBron James did a rally.
Can't we have anything nice? Can't we have anything freaking
This
nice
is when
anymore?
he was still with he was still with the Cavs then. And it's like 8 years ago, and he did a rally for Hillary. Him and J.R. Smith. I'm like, I'm surprised J.R. Smith even knew where he was because he always high on marijuana. So I'm like, but LeBron probably like, come on, JR, let's do this. Like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, sure. I'm gonna get weed after. Okay, let's just go.
Okay, so well, let's get ready for more of an onslaught. I'm actually looking forward to next week because that's going to be the prelude, to the DNC convention. Next week's going to be crazy, but I actually got an announcement to make. Wednesday, we're gonna have Indy from INN News co-hosting me with me for that day. I need a co-host for that day, and I asked Indy like, "Hey, buddy, can you help a brother out?" So there you go. Need to build up an epic team. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, nice. Maybe one day I could be a co-host too.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be more than happy.
Yeah,
to do
but
that,
think of me too if you need one for sure. But
no problem, problem, brother. No problem.
Indy will be there on Wednesday.
Yes, so Indy's going to be co-hosting with me on the show, and next week's going to be pretty intense because not only will it be the week before the DNC convention, I got to find a place for me to take some of the guys out to get some Chicago-style pizza, which is going to be great stuff, by the way. But also, there's the Jimmy Dore show happening that week too. It's going to be on Friday, I think, the 16th. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then there's the weekend, which, by the way, now that I realize it, I got to get all my work done before the weekend because it's going to be insane. So it's going to be a little bit of a headache. Like
whatever work you have. That's why I wanted to get you on now before the convention because I knew you're probably busy as hell, kid.
I probably will be, and it's going to be a little bit of a fun roller coaster. But there you go. Yes. Dr. Nick. Yeah. So I'm gonna be seeing the Jimmy Dore show. I'm gonna probably get some food before I actually go in there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Miss Witchy wants to co-host one day too. Let's see.
Absolutely.
She also says I'm Angel's co-host, so you might not want to rent me out. I don't mind. You could do whatever show you want. I mean, I'm not like I'm not going to complain about it. But by the way, Pro Wrestling Talk will be back next Saturday, 8:00, because Miss Witchy had a prior engagement, so we didn't do the show yesterday. But
fantastic. Well, we'll
be back next Saturday.
Yeah, so I'll be on the show. I'll be on her show on the 18th, which will be a lot of fun. So there we go. That'll be really cool. And let me go ahead and check out something else here too. Oh, hooray! Okay, great. I also found out something here too. So hopefully I'll be able to hook the guys up. Oops. Oh. And I'm also getting my phone buzzed up with a lot of messages now too. So
that's why I put my phone here, and that's what you were hearing earlier. All that beeping. It's like, oh, let me move that there.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts on the DNC, because we should start wrapping up soon. It's almost 9.
Final thoughts for the DNC convention. Okay, folks. Be prepared to see a manufactured enthusiasm and
Yes.
excitement for a neoliberal fraud candidate. A lot of the protesters and activists are going to be put out of sight, out of mind. Yes, we will be covering the convention, but it will be. Unfortunately, I think our main goal, myself and Daniel, because I was actually speaking with Daniel. He actually showed up to my house today. Of all places, Daniel showed up. He showed up in front of my house. So there you go. But we did talk about like, okay, let's just do like how we used to do back in the field, and that was interview like 8 or 6 people or something like that. Cover the protests, cover the activist events. We're gonna cover, RBN and the Green Party's event with Jill Stein and Kshama Sawant here in Chicago. So we're gonna be covering that. We're going to be talking to all those people. I mean, Craig and, Matt Weinglass are going to be here. So, Indy, I haven't sent it to him yet. I'm going to send it to him right now. So after this, but I think it's important that we look at this and don't despair. Just if you are if you're a double hater, don't fall into despair. There's just a lot of people that,
Dr. Nick, you sending pics of your thing, Indy?
No, what's wrong with you,
Dr. Nick? Come on.
No, anyways, final thought is just it's going to be a shit show, but Hardlands Media is going to be there to cover it, and hopefully we get some good interviews, some great content. I will try and maybe do a live stream, but I will not make promises I cannot keep. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah, I mean, it's live streaming is difficult. Not streaming out in the field.
But also at a convention center where everyone's going to have a signal. Like, it's good luck.
Yeah. How do we miss that? Is tonight at 9:45 Eastern, so about an hour. So, okay, make sure at the top of the hour is How Do We Miss That with Indian Reef. At midnight is boats smashing into other boats, uncensored, which is exclusive to Rumble and Rofkin, I believe. So if that's correct. Yeah, Indy just put it here. So boats is exclusive to Rockspin and Rumble only, which is good because that way you don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about the ban hammer on YouTube. So check that out. That's probably around midnight Eastern. At 9:45, it's How Do We Miss That? And Steph says, "Why wrap it up? Why go another hour? What are we going to talk about?"
Well, I actually do have to prep up for tomorrow's show.
Yeah, I figured too.
There's been some further development about this putting Tulsi Gabbard on this watch list because she's apparently taking legal action against the Biden-Harris administration.
She went on that watch list.
But there's also a few other things too, like obviously the DNC convention. There's also Kamala Harris. There's the war in Ukraine. There's a lot of things we're going to be talking about on tomorrow morning's show. So the only way you can learn about Hardlands Media is if you subscribe to us on YouTube, Rumble, Ruffin, Odyssey, and Kick, and we are live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central. So there you go. Tune in.
All those links in the description box below, just like my links. Make sure you subscribe and like this stream. Subscribe to my channel. I just got over 320 subscribers just now. Trying to get to 500 for my birthday, which is the 31st of this month. So I'm turning 38. So I'm looking for, hopefully.
I'm 1 year older than you. So you got to listen to me.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to, get to 500. We'll see. I'm crazy. 500, insane. But I love you guys anyway. I love all the support I get. I'm grateful for every like, every view, because who am I? Just some random guy here talking my ass off. But I'm grateful for everything. Even if it's a tiny audience for now. It's great. I love it. Pro Wrestling Talk is on for this Saturday 8. Look forward to that. I'm very excited.
That's right.
Indy says on our way to 1 million. Damn right. We're going to get to 1 million.
Not before I do. I'm going to get to 1 million first. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, I love you guys. Love INN. I want to, again, thank Indy for pushing me into doing this. And Reef, too, because you guys a few years ago really did push me into it. So I appreciate that. If it wasn't for these guys, I wouldn't be here. About to drop another episode of Kurt Hennig Was the Best. Sounds good? We're only 100 behind you on Kick.
No, man, you guys are catching up to me. No, we gotta get. I gotta keep on up my game. I gotta keep on running harder and faster.
Yeah. So exciting times here. The convention's coming up. I'm just expecting us to be gaslighted in historic record fashions.
It's
I
gonna be
mean,
fine. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna have ourselves a great time. It's gonna be an awesome. It's gonna be a 10
yeah,
out of 10 life changing
mhm.
show.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fucking ridiculous. We're gonna get gaslit like, oh, Kamala is the greatest. They already done it with Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the greatest president of all time, according to Democrats,
Now, according
which
to
is the
Democrats, yeah.
laughable thing I've ever seen. So it's laughable. It's like, how can these people think for a single solitary second that Joe Biden is the greatest president ever and try to convince me of that too, or convince us of that too? Like, they're really trying to. It seems like trying to just convince themselves more than us, but they're over and over and over. And then Kamala Harris is like this the savior from the Lord, from Jesus Christ himself. Jesus sent her down to save us from Trump.
Right.
Saturday, Sunday, 3 p.m.
Yes. So yeah, Sunday, 3 p.m. That's the time you gave me for the 18th. Sunday, 3 p.m.
Yes,
I mean, if that's the time.
yeah.
That's the time. Otherwise, if that's not the time, I need to have the correct time. But
Yeah.
I am looking forward to co-hosting your show. I'm looking forward to Friday. Jimmy's going to be here in Chicago. That's going to be great. This week I might be. Here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff I'm working on this week. So if I seem a little bit on edge, there's a lot of stuff going on. So I want to give a special thank you to Indy for co-hosting with me on Wednesday. He's going to be with me for the whole show. So
Nice.
Indy,
I look forward to that.
yeah. So there we go. And Indy, I'll be sending that image to Daniel too, so that way they have it, and that'll be that.
Of course I would, Steph. Just let me know if I'm welcome too. You can just let me know. I'll come on anytime. So that's what you're wondering,
Yeah.
So all right.
Yeah.
So we have to wrap up. I know Kid has to go and get ready for tomorrow's show, but
Yep. Always doing the show.
Yeah. So that'll do it for this episode, Angel in the Afternoon. It's almost 9 p.m. Eastern, even though it's an evening, but I digress. I'll do it. Thank you very much, Kit, for joining me and
Absolutely.
helping me get through this DNC stuff and previewing the DNC. You guys, Israel's getting bombed. I'm not surprised.
Oh, what happened this time? Let's go find out.
I just saw it on X. Like the Iron Dome has completely failed. It's right here, just like October 7th. The odds of this happening organically is 0.
Well, looks like I got to do my research and once again up my notes. So
this has got to be covered tomorrow then, because they're about to wrap up anyways.
Yeah.
Iron Dome is falling. Yeah, it is. I mean, I've seen it right now. So
well, folks,
look forward to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But Kit will cover it, I'm sure. And
yeah,
and I'll be covering it on Friday most likely because I don't do a daily show. So we'll see you guys. Make sure you check out Kit tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9
a.m. Central, the correct time. How dare you, sir? This is the last time I'm on this show. I'm offended.
If anybody wants to know about Canada, come join us tomorrow. Yeah, the Canada Files, right? Snow, that's your new show with Yeti, right? So check that out. That's at 8 p.m., I believe, tomorrow.
All right.
So yeah, so thank you very much for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe to Kit, like me, and subscribe to me too. Subscribe to INN too, very important. And we're gonna see you guys Friday and Saturday.